Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet, and today we have our October 19th CBO Technical Assistance Call. On the call today, we've got Tammy. Say hi, Tammy.
Hello. Good morning, or afternoon, I should say, everybody.
And we've got Olivia Grisham.
Hey, everybody.
Natasha's listing by speakers, and today we have a guest speaker who's going to talk to us. His name is Josh Beneze. Say hi, Josh.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, so let's cover a couple of things that we need to cover right away, and then that'll give us more time to have our guest speaker talk.
Okay, the first thing we have on our agenda is our lovely department quarterly report that's due October 30th. And Olivia, if you can share your screen with that report on that. I want you to use this document, and it's in the download file. We still are going to be operating on our DGR report. The Gadda Report is not available. I was hoping that'd be available for this quarterly report, but it's not. But I anticipate by the time we do our next report, Gadda will have their reporting requirements established, what we're going to do. So you're very familiar with this one. The way this is different is don't use the last one because we had a feeder document that you actually went into page 1 and you put in your outcomes and all of that. I'm going to be sharing a document with you real soon to track your earned income on this grant. And then we're also in WorkNet working on reports out of the system, so that way we can get the reports. So what I've done with this document, we're making it incredibly easy. If you have WIOA grants, it's exactly what you do with that. What you're going to do is fill out this top block where it just says your grantee number. I have the grant number in there, and then the 2 X's. Replace the X's right here with, and not the very top one, but the gray box down below, Olivia, just right there. There we go. You're going to replace those 2 X's with your grant number. You're going to type in your grantee name, the program name. I could have put EPIC in there. I didn't. You just put EPIC in there. I did populate it with the quarterly report, so it's 7/1 through 9/30. Oh, thanks, Olivia. And then who it's prepared by, your contact name and number. And then I've checked the boxes. There's 2 boxes down there that says the information in our grant reporting system is up to date. And then the one next to it that says the information is put into a system for our deliverables. So the GRS, what you have to do, and it has to be done by tomorrow because tomorrow is the last day you can report your cost. In the GRS, you need to go in and report your cost as of the end of 9/30. And then in Illinois WorkNet, you need to make sure that, obviously your information is accurate in WorkNet and up to date in that. Because our WorkNet system is where we're going to be getting our deliverables and performance measures for this program, obviously. And then the GRS is where we're tracking your cash requests and expenditures. So those boxes are already checked. And then, Olivia, if you can go all the way down, don't worry about filling out anything else on this document. Go all the way to the bottom of the document. And then all you're going to do is, if you want to include success stories in here, you can. We would prefer you, working with us. If you have some success stories, you can send them to the EPIC website, and then we'll put that in there for sharing success stories. But we're also working on our tools for success stories. And I do want to request success stories. DHS is interested in receiving some, and I promised them we would get them some by the end of the week. So Olivia, put that up there. Please submit some success stories that you have for us. Like I said, we're going to make this function in WorkNet because we have that capacity to put the stories in there. But for right now, if you guys can share who's got some success stories this week by Friday, put it on the EPIC at IllinoisWorkNet.com site. But then there's another box up there if you have any concerns or issues, and you can type those in. And then you just need to have it signed by your authorized signator, where it says the grantee signator. So whoever's authorized in your grant agreement needs to sign this. You need to type their name and title, and then type the date in. That's all you have to complete on this report. We've streamlined it because you guys are using the GRS for your costs and a cash request. And then we're using WorkNet as our performance tracking system. That's all you have to do on this. Now, what I really want you to focus on, though, is you have to submit a trial balance with this report. So this trial balance has to reflect what is in the GRS. And if they don't, if there's a discrepancy between what you've put for your cost in the GRS and what your trial balance is showing, then you have to provide us a crosswalk. And you can even handwrite this on your trial balance. So in your trial balance, you may have multiple cost categories that are attributed to the line items that we have. So like train, how did you put those costs in the GRS? How are you documenting that? So on your trial balance, you have to link what you have in there to what you're putting in as cost on the GRS so that we can understand how you're charging your cost off to this grant. It's very critical that you guys do this because this is, obviously one of our methods of tracking your program in progress. And if it's not, if we can't understand from your trial balance how you're reporting costs in our GRS, then one of our fiscal officers is going to be calling you. And there is, I'm going to see if it's in here, in the downloaded section, there's a document, so be sure and download that. And it provides your agency name and then the name of the staff person that's going to be checking your trial balance against the cost in the GRS. So I wanted to provide that for you, so if you get a call from an individual and you don't know who they are, now you know who your counterpart is that's going to be contacting you at least quarterly to verify, your reporting on the GRS and your trial balance.
Hang on just a second,
Tammy.
Tammy.
Sure.
Olivia, your screen went dark.
Yeah, the webinar crashed on me and Natasha's computer.
Let me download this and open it.
Did we lose anybody? Hopefully not. Oh, you guys, can everybody still, if you raise your hand? Oh, good. We've got everybody on the phone still.
Okay.
Great. Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna open up the trial balance.
And one thing on that document, there are 4 agencies that don't have somebody correlated with them. That's Asian Human Services, Jane Addams. Where'd my list go? And I am following up with our fiscal staff to make sure that we have those names for you guys. So we have Asian Human Services, Jane Addams, North Lawndale, and Phalanx. You don't have somebody associated with you on that list. I'll get that information to you as soon as I find out from our fiscal office who's going to be assigned to you. But Dee pulled that up, so that shows you who our fiscal individual is that'll be reaching out to you and asking questions if they can't figure out. If you submit your trial balance and we can figure it out with the GRS, you probably won't get a phone call. But if they can't figure that out, then they'll call you and they'll have to do some reconciling.
And this is just the review list. I don't see the worksheet that Olivia had open.
It's actually in the download file, and it's the 15720 or 7620XX.
CGR. Okay,
Yeah.
Let me open that up. Did you need to cover anything else on it?
No, the only thing is after you put your information in that very top box, what I want you to do is I want you to save this file and replace the 2 X's with your grant number. So, if you are A Safe Haven, it'd be, 01. So those last 2 digits in your grant agreement, replace those X's with that. And then send that document to me, and I have to have it by the 30th. So this process is, really easy, for now until we get the Gadda reporting. The main thing, like I said, I want you to focus on is making sure that the GRS costs are in there appropriately through 9/30, and that your trial balance justifies the cost that you've reported in the GRS. Are there any questions on that?
I don't see anybody typing.
And just once again, the only part you have to fill out is the top part. That's your agency information. And then you need to sign it, have your authorized signature sign it. If there's no questions, we can go ahead and, there we go.
Do they need to change the X's in this top box as well, or is it an automatic?
It's an automatic, so they complete that bottom box. So like if you put something in those X's right now, that transfers up to the top box.
So if I say 17, it'll automatically change it up there. Cool. Yep. I like it when it does that kind of stuff. And Carmen is asking, are we going to go over the trial balance report at all?
No, the trial balance comes from your system, so you have to provide us with your trial balance from your accounting system that shows the expenditures and revenue for the EPIC program.
And if their fiscal people have questions, they can contact?
They can contact me, and then I may have to, refer them to somebody in our fiscal office, but you have them reach out to me. Yeah, you would get that from your accounting office, and just let them know that it just needs to correlate. And once again, you can handwrite it on the trial balance if you want to. If you've got $100,000 in participant wages, then how is that reflected on your trial balance? So if you have multiple categories on your trial balance that add up to that, then show us how that works. Or staffing, the costs that we have for our line items in the GRS.
Okay, and I just wanted to show everybody that on the EPIC Pilot Program Partner Guide, if you go to that main page where it says All Resources and scroll to the bottom of that first chunk, there is Submit a Success Story. So if you click on this link, it actually takes you to the spot on Illinois WorkNet where you can submit a success story right here in the middle of the page. You can do that, and it will help you find success stories as well. So it's a real easy step to get you from here to submitting a success story. And okay, so now let me pull this down just a moment to
and then one other thing, if you need information on how to enter your cost or request cash in the GRS, we provided that link to you over in the chat pod too. So there's a YouTube video of a webinar that we did, I think back in July, that talks about that.
Eric is asking, is there a way for participants to do this through their WorkNet accounts? And they can actually go to, let me get into Big WorkNet. If they go to Illinois WorkNet, it might be nice for you to work with them to make sure that what they write people would understand, unless they've got good writing skills otherwise. But go to the main menu, and under Updates and Help, we have the success stories, so they can do that there. True. That's very true. Eric says alternately that he can have them write something and submit to you as the CBO, and then you can submit it under that link. But the customers are welcome to submit success stories as well. They just go straight to the page. And then let me get logged in and see if there's a spot. Olivia, do you know if there's a spot on our dashboard where we can go to submit success stories? I don't see one.
No, I don't believe there's one on the dashboard.
So they'd have to actually just go to the menu item on Big WorkNet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have on here the Region 1 contact list for the CBOs. Do you want to talk about that, Olivia? I have it up on the screen.
Yeah, so I went ahead and put together this is for Region 1 because they have so many CBOs moving around within their region. I put together a contact list that lists out all of the agencies listed in Region 1, their addresses, their contact names, contact numbers, and the emails. And then I also went in and included the training programs each location offers. This is for your guys' use. We shouldn't make it available to the customers or anything. But If a customer comes in and maybe they've been assigned to the wrong program or they're interested in another training, this can kind of give you a starting point to look at, maybe you need to reach out to a different CBO and talk to them about that. We are going to put together some guidelines on how this communication process should work, but we're still need to get it put all together, but we will be reaching out to a couple different CBOs to get like a small group together to help us go over this process and make it as seamless and flawless as possible. So if you have any information or insight into CBO to CBO communication, please feel free to give me an email. Let me know if you're willing to participate in this small group. We may end up recruiting a couple of you if we need to get some more people in. But you can email epic@illinoisworknet.com with any questions or changes you may have to this document. Does anybody have any questions now about it?
Nancy wrote, will you send my information to update the contact list?
Will I send?
She's going to send the information.
Okay.
Nancy will send you information to update the contact list.
Sure thing. That's good. Yeah, you can email that to epic@illinoisworknet.com. It's up there. Olivia typed that in a little bit earlier in the chat pod. Next on our agenda is the dashboard. I skipped that, so let me get to the dashboard. Another success story question, do these need to be submitted confidentially? Remove all identifying information? Yeah, unless you get written consent from the customer. And in fact, we have photo consent forms on the resource page so that if you do want to include a photo, you need to have them sign that consent form. It's nice to have the name and location information, but they may not want that on an international website. So it's just up to you and your customer what they want to do with that. So do you want to start with the intake dashboard, Olivia?
That again, Dee?
Which dashboard would you like to start with? The enrolled?
The enrolled dashboard.
Okay.
Let me see here. Okay, so I don't have the exact numbers in front of me right now, so I'm just going to go over the areas that are important to keep an eye on. We may or may not have customers in those areas right now, but they're just the main areas where we don't want to lose customers. So the first one is under the CBO enrollment verification status, referral accepted and enrollment started, enrollment required. So this is the last yellow section on the dashboard. If you have customers in this section, what it's saying is that you have indicated the customer has shown up to their appointment by uploading the 2151 with client services initiated, but the client has not yet been enrolled into your program. So we need to make sure we're going and enrolling the client into your location and into the training program that they're going to be participating in. This will save them a spot in that training program and assure that it doesn't get filled up and they get left behind. The second area that we need to keep an eye on is if CBO needs to upload past due. This is in the second section in that enrolled dashboard, the first yellow line. And this is just stating that between the 1st and the 5th of every month, a 2151A needs uploaded for every customer to reflect their previous month's progress. It's just saying that if you have customers in there, they have not yet had their 2151 uploaded, and it's past the deadline of the 5th. And then and the other section to keep an eye on is just down in the bottom, if you have any clients that are sitting in situation worse, no progress or minimal progress, and they're stuck in there for a long time, we really just need to make sure that we're figuring out what the problem is and helping them to overcome that barrier, or if they need to go through conciliation because they're not showing up, we do that as well. So those are the areas on the dashboard that we need to keep an eye on.
We have
Do
a
you guys
couple of
hear me?
questions.
I have.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, I
hear
can
that
hear you.
sound?
We have a
Okay.
couple of questions from the audience. Eric says he has two issues at the moment. First, I have a participant who missed an appointment, has never contacted our program, and our attempts to contact the participant have failed. He is essentially sitting in the no contact number. Do we just leave him here for the moment? Eric, are you mandatory area or a voluntary area?
They would be voluntary.
In Region 4? All right, so have you submitted a 2151 that says no contact? And then it's up to DHS. If you've never participated with a person, it's up to DHS to follow through with that customer. So we'll have to make sure that we point that out to DHS again.
Are they sitting in the no contact conciliation section of your dashboard, the yellow section?
This referral pending, no contact from other customers?
Yeah. That's where they'll stay, and that's that section is the section DHS will follow up with, so you won't have to worry about customers in that row of the dashboard.
All right, and then he also says, second, I have a participant who left while receiving services and has never returned. We tried to contact him several times. He finally contacted us and noted that DHS sent him a letter saying he's no longer in the program. He is still listed under the no contact stat. Because of the fact that you're voluntary, the areas are different than in the mandatory areas, but as long as you've submitted your paperwork and DHS is aware of what is going on, then there's a possibility that they may sit in a particular area. One of the things that does happen with the mandatory areas is they get moved to DHS indicated customer not currently SNAP eligible. That could happen. So that's one thing that in the mandatory areas they can watch.
And Eric, if he does want to re-engage, as long as he's SNAP eligible, if you want to reach out and he does, or this individual, he or she wants to re-engage, they can come back in for services, but they have to be SNAP eligible.
Eric, did we answer your questions?
And then that particular client should be sitting in, conciliation sanctions recommended.
Well, no, because he's in a voluntary area. He would be under the no contact from customer. We're going to have a chat about that, I think.
Yeah, well, he was enrolled and engaged in services, so he participated with the agency. So they would pass through the 2151A, indicating that they tried conciliation, and that at this point they're referred back to DHS for sanctions.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
Nancy Brown is saying, had a person in minimum because she just enrolled the day after the report was due. She has gone through the first part of training. Do I send another 2151A or wait until the report is due at the beginning of the month? According to the procedure, you need to submit a 2151A for what is anticipated activity for the customer. And then you submit a 2151A at the beginning of each month for the activities that took place in the previous month. So,
and Nancy, you can, anytime there's a change in activity for the clients, you can submit that at any time. You're required to submit a 2151A every month between the 1st and the 5th. But if there is progress or changes within that month, you can submit more than one 2151A for a client.
And then for the customer, you just, for customers, so I've heard that comment a lot. A lot of people will have customers who start between the 1st and the 5th of each month, but we still need to upload the 2151A, their initial 2151A that covers all the different areas that you want to engage the customer in while they're enrolled with your location. So that's why they're still showing as overdue, because even though they haven't been there for a month to show previous work for, they're still missing their initial upload that needs to be uploaded that outlines their plan.
And then Carmen's asking a question. Is it possible to add, I'm trying to get my page to come up, is it possible to add a date scheduled column to the scheduled appointments section when you click in to look at clients? Do you mean on the Excel spreadsheet or in this page on the progress page? In the dashboard. So in here, you want to know the date that they're scheduled and when they actually made that appointment. Oh, in the dashboard? When looking at the list. In the pending enrollment. So we've got people here who have referral pending with a scheduled appointment that haven't been to you.
Yeah, Dee, why don't we take that offline?
Yeah, okay.
With Carmen?
That's a good idea. Carmen, send me a screenshot if you can, or else we'll talk after the webinar if you have a few minutes. We can just stay in here and then I'll open up we'll actually just talk on the phone. All right, and then...
please go ahead and we'll continue you guys typing questions that you've got in, but we're going to progress on with Josh and his presentation. But if there's any questions, feel free to please continue typing in your questions, and then we will answer all of them, after we get done with our presentation.
All right. Okay, Josh, do you want the slides open?
Yes, please.
All right. How's that?
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I am Josh Beneze with the Illinois Community College Board, and one of the things I do is I manage the ICAPS project. And so I'm just going to kind of give you kind of a refresher overview of ICAPS, how it works, what the components are, and how a program is put together as you're working on designing your programs. And then I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have as well. So if we could go to the next slide, please.
Sure.
Okay, so the first parts of the required components to an ICAPS program. ICAPS is the Integrated Career and Academic Preparation System, and it's a joint partnership between, was set up as a joint partnership between adult education and career and technical education. And so in such a program, a student is concurrently provided with both adult ed, so high school equivalency education, basic skills education, and career and technical education and job training. So the required components include contextualized and integrated adult ed curricula, so adult education materials that have been contextualized and integrated for a specific career pathway, career development and workforce preparation activities, transition services, technology skills, employability skills, and comprehensive student support services. So when we say comprehensive, we're talking child care assistance, transportation assistance, tutoring assistance, just about full wraparound services. And we don't expect any one provider to be able to do all of those things because they can be very expensive. So we do emphasize partnerships between agencies and entities to do that. The other components include college credit-bearing career and technical education. That's the workforce training component. Shared planning and learning objectives. A team-taught environment, and this is a key piece for ICAPS, is that we, for our ICAPS programs, we require a team-taught environment. So you have a career and tech teacher and an adult education basic skills instructor teaching together in the career and tech classroom for at least half of the time. And then that adult ed team teacher then teaches a contextualized adult ed support class where they will receive their adult education instruction that is contextualized for the pathway and also provides additional support for the career and technical education as well, so that to help the students progress and to succeed. Next slide, please.
It's there.
Okay, sorry. I'm looking. I've got it up on my other screen here too. Okay, so the outcomes from an ICAPS program include high school equivalency certification. It's no longer just the GED. In Illinois, we now have 3 high school equivalency exams that includes the GED, the HiSET, and the TASC assessment as well. Stackable college credentials. So we have basic certificates into advanced certificates, into applied associate's degrees, and into associate's degrees, things that can stack up. Transferable college credit, industry recognized credentials, and employment opportunities. Next slide, please. Okay, so I put in here a list of the current pathways that we have running with ICAPS programs, and I divided them by career cluster. So we do have programs running HVAC, welding, and industrial welding that all fall under architecture and construction. We have office administration programs under business management and administration. We have a couple of early childhood education programs. We have several, many under health sciences. We have healthcare, CNA, dental office aid, EMT, personal care aid, and so on. We do have a couple of culinary arts programs, a few information technology programs. The Cisco program and the CompTIA are both at College of DuPage, and that program is also looking into the possibility of starting a mechatronics program soon. We also have Microsoft Office Specialist and a couple of TDL programs as well. And we do have several CNC and manufacturing programs throughout the state. A couple of them are machining, engineering technology, certified production technician, and again, welding and industrial welding are also popular. And I think that was all I had in the slides. Yes, and so that's kind of a very brief overview. The main thing that's important to know about ICAPS is it is a blended approach that combines both technical training through college credit and adult education as well. And we've included in here a document. It's an ICAPS one-pager. It's from earlier this year, and it does include all of the key components, the outcomes, and on the back page has a full list of all of the programs that are currently running ICAPS. With the exception of number 2, Carl Sandburg is no longer running any adult education programming, but the rest of these on the list are up and going and have the background to assist with these.
Josh, Eric is asking, are these programs only being developed for community colleges?
Up until this point, yes, because ICAPS was designed specifically for career and tech ed, with college credit being a required component. Now, ICAPS, as this is framed, can be done through a partnership between a CBO that is an adult ed provider and a community college CTE program department. Or you can take this model, the framework of this model, and apply it in other ways that's not necessarily tied to college credit. We are launching an additional model of what's called Integrated Education and Training, or IET, under WIOA, that similarly mirrors the framework of ICAPS, but is not necessarily tied to college credit, and that is something that can be done as well.
So Josh, for this model, like you said, some of the key components are the team teaching format, in which they could be in remediation and adult basic education potentially simultaneously, along with career and technical education?
Correct.
So if you were a CBO, what they could do is just take this model and then with their partners try and align training services that would mirror this type of a model. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes.
And it would also include, obviously, your supportive services, and then collaboration with other potentially community-based organizations that dealing with, other types of barriers, whether there be some, alcohol or other situations that could fold into this model also, so we have a holistic approach.
Absolutely. ICAPS is definitely a model that is perfect for establishing integrated services. Service integration is such a key thing moving forward, and this is a model that can help bring that about, because in order to make it work, it does require partnership and integration between providers and different entities in order to make it work.
Now, how would you recommend, like for a community-based organization, potentially reach out to a community college if they want to start a specific career model?
That, excuse me, sorry. The best way to go about that is to build the relationships, find out who the people are with the expertise in the areas in which you're seeking to partner. For example, when I'm talking to our adult education CBOs, I recommend to them that they figure out what pathway they're wanting to provide, and they seek out the individuals in the CTE department for that pathway in that industry, because they have the connections with not only the academic deans and the college administration, but also with the employers and the individuals on the advisory boards for those programs as well.
And then for the HSE, you said there's 3 competencies, so it's GED?
GED is one, and that's the one we all know and are familiar with. And last year we introduced the HISET. It's H-I-S-E-T. It stands for High School Equivalency Test. And that is from ETS. And then the other is TASC, T-A-S-C. That is the Test Assessing Secondary Completion. And that is from DRC McGraw-Hill. Thank you, Dee. Yes.
You're welcome. And who has information about these different programs here, the HSE?
Anyone for questions regarding the high school equivalency exams, they would want to speak to Caitlin Barnes here at ICCB. She is the Associate Director for Assessment and Testing, and she works with all 3 of those tests. She's out of the office this week, but she will be back on Monday.
And how do you spell Caitlin?
That's C-A-I-T-L-Y-N. and Barnes.
And she's, so is her, like Caitlin.barnes@illinois.gov?
I will actually type that in. There's a middle initial.
Good.
Yeah, because Caitlin Barnes at Illinois.gov would actually go to her old DCEO address, which is no longer active. So, excuse me. Yes, so Caitlin.e.barnes.
We do have some CBOs that do the GED test or training internally. They have the staff that have the capacity to do that. Is the other test something that CBOs can, I guess, get certified in or trained in and offer internally, or do you know how those have to be offered? Are they proctored, or are they?
Yes, they have very similar requirements for testing as does the GED, and the information for applying to become a testing center is available on our website under high school equivalency.
Great. Now, does anybody have any questions for Josh related to this? I know this was something that we included this as our model for EPIC, and going to an integrated approach to providing services to our clients. And obviously, ICAPs are a great resource. If some of you guys are currently working with them. If you're not, I recommend reaching out to some of the colleges if you want to establish relationships in this area too. But we can definitely model their approach to integration, integrating our delivery services to clients when we're looking at the remediation and adult basic education and technical education. And then the other component that we have in the EPIC program is also the work experience. So one of the things that we like to see you guys, doing in your model designs and considering is implementing work experience in conjunction with your training services. We did have a conversation a while back related to providing, additional wage benefit to people in work experience if they also are in training. So if they're enrolled in training services along with work experience, that we could pay them a higher wage. That has been vetted through several sources, and I believe that we're going to be able to do that. We have to work out some procedures right now, but a lot of what we're hearing from the field is you're getting clients that are coming in and saying, I need to work, I need money. I may or may not be interested in training, but right now what I just need is a job because I need money. We need to figure out ways to motivate and entice these participants to be put in training and to get skill upgrades so that they can eventually have a higher earning capacity. So we're going to be working on that process within the next week or two, and we'll get that out into the field to you guys. But one of the things I want you to strongly encourage in your program design is the work experience along with your training. And then the opportunity, like I said, for these clients to be more motivated potentially to do that is an opportunity for a higher wage by participating in both at the same time. And I do think that was vetted, like I said, through even the F&S office, and they thought that was a very interesting concept. And I want you guys' opinion on that too. Do you think, is this something that will motivate clients to stay in training programs if they can work, say, 10 or 15 hours a week and earn, $13 an hour compared to just being in work experience and maybe only receiving $9 an hour? And I say yes. And this is exactly the kind of program changes that we need to start looking at and implementing to motivate clients, because they do have desperate needs for income right now. So we need to address their needs along with motivating them to stay in training. So I'm glad to hear we're getting a lot of yeses on that. And like I said, we are going to work on getting the whole process of that within the next week or two totally defined so we can start implementing this. So does anybody have any other questions for Josh? And Josh, what do you think? Do you think that's a motivating factor?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That would certainly, from my perspective, that would certainly motivate individuals to enroll and to stay involved. And
at least the beauty of the EPIC program is that work experience does not go against their benefits. So they don't include that as an income factor when they're determining their eligibility for SNAP. So that was pretty, critical for this program. So, Josh, thank you so much. Anything else you want to share?
That was all I had.
I really appreciate it. We just want to bring this in front of you guys again to really start looking at program design at your level and seeing for serving, the SNAP participants, what can we do differently in our program designs that's going to help keep them, engaged and motivate. And obviously, blended education, the ability to put them in remediation and adult basic education and maybe in career and technical, so it makes sense for them as they're going through with the work experience. It seems like a really good model, and that's what we're moving towards now, is trying to provide information to you guys on how can we design programs that's going to keep these people engaged and have successes as we're working through it. So thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Thank you,
for your
everybody.
time. I appreciate that.
You all have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thank you much. Does anybody have any other questions? Let's go ahead and go back to our questions that we had. And then Natasha and Dee, do we have any other agenda items that you guys need to discuss?
We need people to answer this poll question. If you did not type in your agency name and the number of frontline staff you have working on EPIC, and also please check in. You can download the files in the lower left-hand corner from Josh's presentation today. And then one other thing that I need is I have Homework Hangout and National ABLE talking on Friday to DHS. These are the Chicago agencies. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. These are the Chicago agencies that still need to present to the DHS webinar. And if any of the southern part of the state would like to present, you're welcome to do that, but I would like to get these agencies here on the calendar very soon. I have room for one more agency this Friday, so if anybody would like to present on Friday, it's 3 to 5 minutes or so, and we'll show your website and all that kind of information. Megan is asking, customers are coming, whoops, it just moved. Customers are coming into orientation expecting to start training the same day. Yeah, that doesn't work. Are the customers being informed of the intake process by DHS staff? We just talked to them on Friday last week to let them know that there is a process to getting into training. So it's just a matter of that information actually sinking in, because we know that people hear what they want to hear when it's convenient for them to hear it. So just reiterating that here's the process, as we'll reiterate that again on Friday with DHS staff, and if you guys can just say, well, here's what we actually are going to do. Mr. Hill says, ICAP's presentation was outstanding. It's good to hear about the effort for program design to include training and work experience money. Thank you. Great. All right, so do I happen to have a volunteer from any of these organizations? If you want to send me an email or type it into the chat pod right now, I can add the date. We've got one space available on the 21st. We've got 3 spots available on the 28th, and then 3 spots available on the 4th. And by that point in time, we should be real close to done. So if I could get some volunteers today, I won't have to draft you.
And it's just to let you guys know, we are going to move our webinars to every other Wednesday. So our next webinar will be November 2nd. We know you guys are really busy in the field, and we want to make sure that the webinars we're providing to you guys have good content. And what we're going to try and provide to you guys, if we get this lined out, is some information on designing career pathways and understanding career pathways, and then building those partnerships. We have had one of these on the WIOA side, so we want to bring you some information on the development and design of career pathways for the November 2nd one, which aligns really well with what Josh just talked about with the ICAPS programs also. Okay, with that said, if we have maybe a few more questions here.
All right, I see Daryl typing. So I don't have any volunteers from any of these organizations on the call today. So I'll have to...
You'll recruit.
I'll have to recruit.
So if you would please, once again, fill out these polling questions that we had. I do need to know your frontline staff, how many frontline staff you have for all of our agencies. Like I said, once again, I'm going to be following up with you guys on a survey that MDRC is going to be working on here soon. Don't forget your DGR reports, so do the 30th, and make sure your costs are reported by the close of business tomorrow through September 30th in the DGR system. And if you need assistance with that, you can give me a call on the DGR. Judy from our office is the one that works with that also. And then there's a link up here in our chat pod to the webinar that deals with the DGR.
Mr. Hill's asking if we can get Josh Beneze to present to one of the CBO.
Sure, you bet.
Calls.
Definitely, we can do that.
Cool. All right. I don't see anybody else volunteering for me here, so we will end the recording, and then I'm going to end the recording, but if Carmen can stay on the call with me and then dial in, we'll get on the phone and we'll do a little screen share. All right? Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon.